Well,
So,
it appears high time to introduce our next guest, which is Barry from @Raiders UK. Barry, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd have spoke to me 10 minutes ago before we traded up and got ourselves a safety, I'm in a much better mood now than I was.
it's sad.
So, do I take it then that you weren't the biggest fan of the Leatherwood pick at 17?
No, I mean, he looks like he's going to be a solid right tackle. It's one of our huge needs. It was something needed addressing. He didn't seem that high up people's draft boards. I know you can't just go off of what the media say, but we've got a coach that used to be that media guy. We've got a GM that used to be that media guy. I don't see why suddenly their opinions would change. But yeah, I mean, we've gone and got a second round tackle in the first round, and I would think a first round safety in the second. So it all works out. And like I say, I'm a lot more happy now than I was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you took the media's board, if you reverse those picks and put Merrick in the first round and Leatherwood in the second, that no one would really have batted an eyelid.
Yeah. I think the problem is the Raiders have had the past couple of years, we just seem to be living in our own little world where we're just quite happy to draft people in the first round that no one else seems to think are first round talents. And when you've been a pretty poor franchise for the past 2 decades, you can't be making those sort of decisions. I'd rather see them go out and draft the guy everyone thinks is going to be a star. And if he fails, well,
Yeah, then at least you can look at the consensus board and say it was wrong rather than point at your own guys. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, Barry?
Been a Raiders fan for as long as I can remember. My old man took me to see them in 95 down in Wembley. They played like a pre-season friendly against the 49ers. And then grew up playing Brit Bowl. I played for the Chester Romans. And then when I was a teenager, I moved over to Barcelona and played for a team called the Barcelona Bufals out there for a couple of years, and just carried on suffering through being a Raiders fan.
Where did you play? What position?
Defensive line.
Cool. That's fantastic. Did you move out to Barcelona for other reasons and you played there, or did you kind of go out there for the football?
It was a bit of both, really. I was lucky enough to have a granddad that had retired out to Spain, as many Brits do. And I was out there on holiday and found out that they played American football over there and was like, oh, wow, I wonder if there's a team local to my granddad I could move to Spain and play. And the only team I could find, because this was early 2000s, was a team in Barcelona. So I emailed them and said, hey, guys, is there a team further south near me? And out there, it's quite big. They bring in college players from the States, and most teams at the time would have 2 or 3 imports. And they were like, hey, come down, have a trial. So I flew home, got my kit, went to Barcelona, and then got to play in Barcelona for 2 years, which was pretty awesome.
That's absolutely wild. Boys, any questions for Barry and the Raiders?
Yeah, I've got a question. I can't see the picture, but I'm going to guess. Is there a child with a rattle, or are you shaking a tambourine?
No, it's my hands. I am shaking. I'm excited because
My question is to you. What do you think of Carr? I see a lot of people thinking, is he overrated? Is he underrated? He consistently puts up these kind of numbers like that are top 10, 15, but somewhat underwhelm and underperform. How much of that is on him and how much of that's got to be, I suppose, on the defense. How long does he get to take you to where you need to be before you move on?
I don't hate Carr, and he is, I'd certainly put him above a heck of a lot of other starters in the league. But at the same time, he has had a long time in our team to do something, and he shows glimpses, and then at other times, he'll throw it away on third and then on fourth and goal, and not even attempt to put it in the end zone, or he just fumbles. He fumbles a lot. I'm really not sure. I like him. He does enough for the job that you think if we got our defense to a decent standard, you'd be happy sticking with him for a bit longer.
A bit like a Matt Ryan, like he's serviceable to put you a lead. You just have to defend it.
Yeah, exactly. But we're just not capable of defending it. It's our defense has just been woeful.
And what do you think of Gruden in terms of like what he's done and where he's kind of taken the team? Can you kind of see where his like vision is, or is it all a bit of a like mystery in terms of what he's actually trying to achieve?
It's a complete mystery to me, man. I haven't got a clue what's going on inside that organisation. I think the problem is the two people at the top have both spent a lot of time being media personalities, and so anything that comes out of the organisation you have to take with a pinch of salt. And what they're telling us, their plan and what they're trying to achieve, doesn't seem to translate to what we see on the football field or in their transactions. I don't know where he's going. I mean, I love Gruden. Like early 2000s when I was a teenager watching them before he got traded to the Bucks, I thought he was, best thing since sliced bread. But on his return, he hasn't quite lived up to that.
And what's your in terms of like the rest of the teams in the AFC West? How do you kind of think that their draft performance has been so far? Are you kind of pleased with how things have turned out, or are you sort of looking at their picks with a bit of envy?
To be honest, I've not even paid attention to them. I was that furious with our first round pick. I just completely switched off until this evening. To be fair, we've got a long way. Despite beating them once and almost beating them the second time, I still think we're miles behind the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think we're on par with the Chargers and Denver. I mean, it just depends what they do with the quarterback position. But I think it's more about us. We proved last year we've got an offense that when they're on their game can run up any kind of score that they feel like. We just need to sort the defense out. So I'm not too concerned with what the other teams are doing. We just need to look after ourselves, I think.
It's a bit like our problem with Aaron Rodgers, isn't it? We have to play him twice a year. You've got to play not only Mahomes twice a year, but now Justin Herbert twice a year.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore has gone.
Rondale Moore off the board to Arizona. That's going to be an interesting one.
That's a wonderful pick.
How has he just fallen to 49? Oh, God. How about you guys? Aaron Banks to San Francisco at 48.
Big reach.
Really?
Big reach. Yeah.
Massive reach.
Well,
he was number 100 on my board.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Barry, what's the best moment of your Raiders fandom so far? Obviously, you've been a fan of the team for quite a long time. So you said, obviously, for the last 20 years, they've not been up to much, but some of the early Gruden years, perhaps.
I mean, the 2003, where we got spanked by the Bucks in the Super Bowl. That was the first proper year. I think I was like 16, 17. It was the first proper year where I really committed to like trying to watch every game or at least catching up. I think it was when Mike Carson used to be on Channel 4 or Channel 5, and they had pretty good coverage. That whole year was just awesome. Since then, it's been pretty downhill. 2016 was a nice little upswing. But then Christmas Eve 2016 at 5 o'clock in the morning, watching Carr get his leg broke, brought me crashing back down to earth again. There's really not been that many. Beating the Chiefs last year is probably one of the best moments of the past 2 decades.
Have you been able to go out to America and see a game in?
No, I've not,
No?
unfortunately. No, I've seen them a couple times over here when they've had the London series, but no, I've not got out there yet.
Well, the Allegiant Stadium looks incredible, and I mean Vegas is one of the more accessible places in the world. So now they've moved from Oakland, perhaps it's easier for you to get out there. Obviously, it's still on the West Coast, so it's a bit of a trip, but maybe you can find yourself there soon.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a younger brother, and we've already started talking about wanting to get out there. But I mean, I think they're listed as one of the most expensive tickets to try and get hold of now. But like you say, that stadium, I think it'd be well worth it, and just the whole experience that Vegas allows, I think would make up for it.
And then, and what about the Raiders community in the UK? Is there a sort of should we follow a big network of people, or because I would have thought that the Raiders, just because of their like reputation in the 80s, would be like one of the best followed teams in the UK.
Yeah, I'm a member of Silver and Black UK, which is a fan group that sprung up out of in 2014. The Raiders came over here for the London game, and a group of guys organised a black hole at Wembley, and then from that they developed this fan group, which is pretty cool. There's, we tend to watch all the games together, and it gives you some of that camaraderie that you sort of miss out by not being over in the States. I think lately, I mean, who's going to become a fan of a team that have lost for 19 seasons out of 20? So I think their fanship will have declined recently. But I certainly know a lot of Raiders fans. All my family, a lot of the guys at the Chester Romans, they had a lot of Raiders fans. It was just that sort of badass image of mean, nasty people that drew some of us to them.
Some of the best dressed fans in the league, for sure.
Pardon?
So some of the best dressed fans in the league, for sure. Whenever you see them around Wembley, they're the most enthusiastic dressers, I think, of all of the fans in the UK.
Yeah, it's just easy, isn't it, to go with dark? You can tie it to so many things: goths, bikers, Star Wars.
All the things that come together naturally.
Yeah, certainly for me. I've built my life around those things.
Is there anyone that you'd like the Raiders to pick in later rounds that you've kind of fallen in love with?
No, not really. I wanted Tevin Jenkins. He was the tackle I wanted, and that was the position that I was sort of most concerned about. I really pleased with the Morrig pick at safety, but I don't think that one person is going to solve our defensive issues. Whereas if we can try and keep our offense to the standard it was last year, I'll be fairly happy. So the fact we've addressed our 2 biggest needs, I think we need to just, anyone that's capable of putting pressure on a quarterback should be the plan for the rest of the draft.
All right, Barry.
Giants.
Sorry, Ryan.
Ojulari has gone to the Giants.
That's terrific value.
50.
Terrific value that is.
I don't know why, but I'm getting major deja vu. I don't know why. Barry, I think I'm coming to we're coming to the end of our time with you. Is there anything that you want to shout out or plug or anything before you go?
No, not at all. Just thank you for the opportunity. Nice to chat with you guys.
Been terrific to talk with you as well, man. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Cheers,
Have
cheers,
fun for the
Barry.
rest of
Barry, thanks
the
for coming on.
coverage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Cheers.